John Wolfe Smith trod the path through the dense thicket. It was slick with dew, each fallen branch a snare for unwary feet, his weathered boots sinking into the sodden earth. He had been in hiding for the past 3 years, ever since the liberation of Byker Grove and destruction of RoboCop Michael Jackson. During this time, he had evolved. His lust and desire for blood and homicidal tendencies trained, he now preys on heinous individuals that have escaped the justice system. He had developed a twisted sense of morality, a personal justification for his violent acts. Now, his bloodlust could not be ignored any longer. He was on the hunt for an appropriate target, someone who deserved to be punished. He had tracked his prey to a small, sleepy town. His victim, a middle-aged man with a sinister past. John Wolfe followed him at night as he walked the path of the eerie forest. He was getting closer. The hunt was almost over. John could almost taste the sweet satisfaction of murderous justice. But suddenly he was distracted. A burlap sack, crudely stitched and stained with the verdant hues of decay, lay nestled beneath a gnarled oak. An inexplicable allure emanated from the Hessian bundle, its mute call resonating within the depths of John's being. He approached, and with curious hands untied the twine that bound the sack. He gasped as a creature of elegance emerged. In front of him was a time-traveling feline, a paradox swathed in fur, a cat from the future. The cat was a creation of interminable beauty, its eyes twin orbs of liquid starlight. Yet, it was not the creature's physical form that triggered a visceral thrill for John, but the sensation that bloomed within his mind, a silent voice whispering truths that defied the natural order. "Help us!" The cat's telepathic plea resonated within John's consciousness. He had stumbled upon a herald of impending doom. The cat, a time-displaced oracle, had chosen him, and with that choice had irrevocably intertwined their destinies.
What's up?
Passage 2. Operation Cunt. In this passage, John Wolfe Smith has taken the time-travelling cat to his lair and is about to hear of the plot that threatens the very future of the free world. The feline settled on John Wolfe Smith's lap, its luminous gaze piercing his mind. Its telepathic voice, an echo of purr and digitized static, reverberated within. "We must act now," the cat's thoughts resonated. The downfall of Western society has begun. Time is short, but the future is not yet lost. John recoiled, the creature's words clawing at his sanity. It all started during the final days of the Cold War. The tabby explained. A clandestine KGB operation, codenamed Operation Cunt, was conceived. Its one objective: to infiltrate and corrupt Western culture through the nascent power of media. The cat's gaze hardened, its story of the future unremitting. A triumvirate of secret operatives, Simon Cowell, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jan de Mol, were molded into agents of cultural subversion. Their mission was to transform our society into a morass of self-indulgent drivel. And they succeed. All media finally becomes an echo chamber of narcissism. Art simply withers beneath the weight of mediocrity. Suddenly the cat grew angrier as it spoke of the horrors of the future, its eloquent voice becoming riddled with frustration. What first originated as social media reaction videos ultimately manifests into the physical reality of the philosophical eternal recurrence concept. Western society spirals into an infinite loop of shit content consumption. The rumble voice continued through John's skull as he stared deep into the pussy's eyes. "It gets worse," the cat exclaimed. Music streaming platforms ensure music becomes more and more tailored to fit existing trends and formulas, leading to a proliferation of generic sounds. Algorithmic prisons replace artistic expression to such extreme levels that it finally culminates in music singularity. In this bleak landscape, the human spirit itself simply withers and dies. The telepathic purr deepened. To avert the impending cataclysm, we need to assemble a coalition of cunning and elusive warriors who can awaken society from its slumber and show the true evils of online media. The path will be treacherous, but the fate of the free world hangs in the balance. Passage 3, Dr. Entrails. In this passage, the future-saving duo have tracked down a doctor with a malevolent secret that they think could help them in their quest to save civilization. Dr. Elias Entrails was a spectre cloaked in the guise of medical benevolence. His affable smile belied the abyssal depths of his depravity. The doctor was far from your typical obstetrician. Behind the pristine white coat lurked a mind obsessed with the macabre. A secret room in his home was dedicated to his obsession of fetal remains, a morbid collection of trophies. It was for this reason he had been chosen by John Wolfe Smith and his time-traveling cat companion for a mission of vital importance. In the digital age, where life's milestones are broadcast for the world's voyeuristic consumption, the newly formed team saw an opportunity. The live-streamed spectacles of nascent existence were now their chosen battleground. Utilizing his obsession with death, the Doctor was tasked to infiltrate an online celebrity couple's gender reveal party. The plan was set. The Doctor lay hidden in the bushes of the select couple's garden, watching the gathering from afar. His eyes, however, were not on the irritating expectant parents. They were fixed on the gender reveal cannons, the innocent tubes filled with pink or blue powder, for Elias had already subtly exchanged the innocuous smoke canister for his own grotesque creation. Within its depths, nestled amidst the wiring and compressed gas, lay the remnants of dead babies, a frightening substitute for the saccharine blue or pink plumes. As the expectant parents, their faces aglow with forced attention-seeking joy, triggered the device, Entrails' eyes gleamed with a fanatic's fervor. The moment of reveal suddenly became a spectacle of horror. Instead of a joyous burst of color, a spray of gore erupted from the cannon, staining the pristine lawn and the faces of the horrified guests. The horror of the revelation was amplified by the ever-present eye of the social live stream. Thousands of viewers bore witness to the desecration, their virtual cheers turning to gasps of terror as Entrails' work played through the digital void.
Who's a man with a curious plan to see the future?
Dr. Entrails.
Who's the cat that will set the trap that'll fool ya?
Dr. Entrails.
They say that cat Entrails is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
I'm talking about Entrails.
Then we can dig it.
Cast on the fire, cast on the pain, cast on the faded, on Dr. Entrails. Cast on the
Passage 4. You can lick it, but you can't fuck it. In this passage, the Destiny-defending duo have uncovered the catalyst for the terrifying future. A YouTuber whose shallow influence spreads like contagion, triggering a snowball effect that leads to the decline of creativity. A plan with a new accomplice is now in motion. Jack Paul was the epitome of obnoxious, a YouTube prankster with a relentless quest for fame. But tonight, Jack had something else on his mind. He looked out of the window of his car and watched a haggard prostitute as she walked the street. The lady in question strolled confidently, like many promiscuous women out at night, her eyes dashing for each man she saw, searching for the right one to take. She was on the hunt. Jack found himself feeling a strange sense of excitement. Yet at the same time there was certainly something about her that felt off-putting. He felt an odd mixture of emotions. He was drawn to her, yet also repelled by her. It was a strange paradox he couldn't quite wrap his head around. Her once brown hair had turned white, and her alcoholism and heroin addiction had taken toll on her youthful glow. Her missing teeth dominated her face. However, the prostitute knew all too well her redeeming feature. For Lola specialized in luring high-profile victims with the promise of what was the cleanest arsehole in town. Her anus, black like a pure obsidian birthed in volcanic fire, lured unsuspecting men into her web. Clients would come from near and far, eager to experience the metaphorical and literal black hole of enticement. But as Jack watched on, unbeknownst to him, Lola's real agenda this evening was a much more sinister one. For she had earlier been groomed in anticipation by John Wolfe Smith and the bagged feline. The prostitute's clean black arsehole was now the seductive bait in a menacing plan. Following what was to be a meticulously orchestrated seduction of Jack, Lola was entrusted with the deployment of her intestinal artillery, her unconventional, unknown, and enigmatic secret weapon, chronic and explosive diarrhea. It was a drowning-inducing, deadly fecal shower that Jack Paul was about to discover.
You can lick it. You can lick it. You
Passage 5. Why don't you take your ball sack and shove it deep inside your ass? In this passage, John and his cat companion have just successfully completed their next mission. Utilizing the crazes of internet challenges, the pair had created their own special trend. We join our heroes as they watch the results of their triumph. John Wolfe Smith and the futuristic cat in a bag stared at the screen, feeling like digital gods in a kingdom of fleeting attention. Their edict, the elastic fantastic, it was a perverse test of anatomical elasticity, a spectacle of self-violation for the camera. The goal was to go viral, to be the loudest noise in the vast hollow chamber of the internet. For the duo had kidnapped a popular online influencer, holding him in captivity. But instead of asking for a ransom, the pair's request was to create a challenge video to be posted to his millions of followers. This was done, and millions mimicked his performance, their own pain commodified, sanitized, and repurposed for likes and shares. The act was a contortionist feat of auto-inflation. It involved the voluntary manipulation of the scrotum and its contents through the anal aperture and into the rectal cavity. The scrotum and testicles were subjected to a stress test of epic proportions, risking a variety of medical complications. These included hemorrhoids, fissures, and in extreme cases, internal organ damage and infertility. And that was the goal. A challenge that could help stop the breeding of those that feed and participate in online challenges. And in turn, lowering the gene pool of those who consider the very practice entertainment. The rise of digital content had created a stark contrast in who succeeds and who struggles. On one hand, you have a growing number of individuals who gain significant revenue from creating content that prioritizes outrage and clicks over artistic merit. On the other hand, many genuine, talented artists whose work inspires and enriches society are forced to fight for minimal returns. But now, with each crushed ballsack, the balance was returning. The challenge was no longer just a trend, it was a societal mirror, reflecting back a collective hunger for meaning that was being fed with an ever thinner gruel of digital validation. The screams of nut pain were growing louder, but they were not the sound of a community. Finding its voice, they were the sound of a mediocrity beginning to be beaten.
Police report. Date, September 6. Time, 10:45 a.m. Location, 14B, Acacia Avenue. Officer, Detective Sergeant Miller, badge 734. Report in progress. This is Detective Sergeant Miller, reporting from the suspect's address. We have breached the property. Suspect is not present. Entry was gained at 10:30 a.m. The suspect is John Smith, a 50-year-old male. We believe this is his residence. The state of the apartment is consistent with the profile of the suspect and the depraved nature of the crimes we're investigating. The apartment is a small, single-bedroom unit. The place is in a filthy state. There are discarded food containers full of feces, and what looks like years of dust and grime covering everything. There are 3 large laminated posters, one of Rasputin, one of Michael Jackson, and one of RoboCop. There are porcelain dogs scattered about the residence. On the floor, next to a stained sofa, is a crate filled with VHS tapes. The collection appears to be exclusively old episodes of a British children's television show called Biker Grove. The box appears to be covered in semen spatters. Near the entrance to the kitchen, we've located a discarded plastic bag. I can see what looks like a decomposing animal inside. On closer inspection, it's a cat, dead. On a small coffee table, there's a pile of what looks like sketches. They're all hand-drawn cartoons. The theme seems to be animal characters, specifically stags dressed in what appears to be battle armor, alongside a variety of stylized superheroes. The drawings are signed in blood with a JWS. In the far corner of the room, there's a large, suspiciously placed cardboard box. The box is taped shut and has "Do Not Open" scrawled on the top in thick marker pen. We have no idea what's under it. We've requested a hazmat team and bomb disposal unit to inspect it before we proceed. We're securing the scene now for forensic processing.